Chapter 1. D City. The news of the second son of the D family marrying the daughter of the Chen family spread like wildfire across the country. The whole country rejoiced and women envied them. 2:00 in the afternoon. At the corner of the red bungalow. Bao Bao, are you able to reach it? Wan Millet, who was squatting on the ground as a stepping stone, was having a hard time. One of her small feet was stepping on her shoulder, and her slender calf was swaying. Tang Bao lowered her head to take a look. Her delicate, snow-white face was flushed red. I'm almost there. Just a little more and I'll be able to reach the railing of the balcony. I almost let you poop and pee on my head. Di Junbai must have dug up someone's ancestral grave in his previous life to make you like him so much and be so loyal to him. He's getting married today, and you're here to mess things up. Wan Millet didn't know if it was a good thing for her to help the wicked. Don't talk. Save your energy and give me a hand. Tang Bao was anxious. If I miss the time, I'll cry to death in regret. In order to prevent Tang Bao from crying to death, as a good friend, Wan Millet could only grit her teeth and lift her shoulders with all her might. Tang Bao also reached out to grab the railing with all her might. This time, she managed to grab it. Got it. With Wan Millet's help, Tang Bao risked her life to climb over the railing. She got up from the ground while panting and walked into the house. In the room, the bride, who was already dressed up and wearing a snow-white wedding dress, was looking at herself in the mirror shyly. She couldn't hide the happiness on her face. However, in Tang Bao's eyes it was quite dazzling. A brick appeared in Tang Bao's hand. She aimed it at the back of the bride's neck and smashed it down cleanly. The bride groaned and fell to the ground softly. She fainted. A victorious smile appeared on Tang Bao's delicate face. She was the only one who could marry Di Junbai. No one else should even think about it. The wedding proceeded on time. The bride entered the hall with the help of her family. It was as if she was walking on a catwalk. At the end of the hall stood the groom. He was wearing a black suit. His tall figure and broad shoulders gave people a sense of security. There were guests on both sides of the stage. Those who came to participate were either rich or noble. Moreover, they were first-rate. Those who were not rich or noble did not have the qualifications to participate. Tang Bao's face was covered with a white veil, so others could not see the bride's face. As long as she did not speak, there would be no problem. What made her nervous was that she was about to become Di Junbai's bride. Her palms were sweaty with every step she took. With an excited heart, she stood behind the groom. After the groom turned around, Tang Bao raised her small face shyly, but in the next second, her expression froze and she was stunned. His deep facial features were handsome and noble. His boundless black eyes were bottomless. His whole body exuded a strong and aggressive aura, like the characteristics of a dormant beast, which made people afraid. Big brother? Wan Millet, who was hiding outside the door and peeking, fell to the ground with a bang. He looked at the groom who was not the groom in fear. Tang Bao's brain could not react. Di Haotian? How could it be Di Haotian? It was Di Junbai's big brother. Tang Bao panicked and turned to look for Di Junbai, only to find that Di Junbai was sitting in the guest seat and smiling at her gently. She was very depressed. I didn't know that you couldn't wait to become my woman. I'll give you this opportunity. Di Haotian's deep and magnetic voice was flirting with her. Chapter 2. It's my wedding today. Di Haotian's thin lips curved into a smile and his eyes became even more aggressive. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I thought it was Brother Junbai's wedding. Tang Bao couldn't stay calm anymore. She just wanted to run away. Besides, she knew that Di Haotian wasn't someone to be trifled with. He was the real master of the Di family. It was rumored that one shouldn't offend Di Haotian even if they offended the king of hell. However, Tang Bao knew that it wasn't just a rumor. It was real. Di Haotian pulled her into his arms forcefully. His cold eyes were filled with dominance. Since you're here, there's no reason for you to leave? What do you mean? Tang Bao was held tightly in his arms. She could feel the strength of the man's body, and it made her very uncomfortable. However, she couldn't break free. In order to be my woman, you climbed over the wall regardless of the danger. How can I let you go? Di Haotian's sinister smile made Tang Bao's hair stand on end. No, it's really a mistake. I thought it was Brother Junbai's wedding today. I hid your bride in the cupboard. She's about to wake up. She's your bride, really? Tang Bao was afraid that he didn't see her face clearly and lifted the veil on her head. Look, I'm really not. She didn't want to marry this scary man. She would be bullied to the point that even her bones wouldn't be left. Her target was the gentle and elegant Di Junbai. However, Di Haotian's expression didn't change at all. It was as if it was the same whether she lifted the veil or not. He just wouldn't let her go. Instead, his cold, black eyes narrowed dangerously. I want to leave. Let me go. Tang Bao panicked and her voice was trembling. She didn't want to marry a powerful and dangerous man in such a muddle-headed way. Are you sure? Di Haotian smiled viciously. Tang Bao did not quite understand. He followed Di Haotian's gaze and saw that Wan Malay, who was hiding by the door, had a black gun pointed at the back of his head. Wan Malay was so focused on the wedding scene that he did not notice that he was about to lose his life. Either you stay or her life. A threatening voice sounded in his ears. Tang Bao froze. She knew. Di Haotian definitely had the ability to kill Wan Malay. It was as easy as stepping on an ant. Even in front of so many guests. Baby, be good. After the wedding, nothing will happen to her. Tang Bao was so angry that he puffed up his cheek. He could not resist Di Haotian's arms. His slender waist wanted to move but he could not. It was as if it wasn't her arm that was restraining her, but an iron chain. Under the witness of the priest, Tang Bao was confused. She did not know what Di Haotian meant. This was a wedding. How could it be a joke? Why did he want to marry her? The bride was obviously changed. Especially the guests below the stage, they did not seem surprised at all. Why? Was it because of Di Haotian's power? Yes. No one could say what Di Haotian wanted to do, and no one dared to. He was wild and dangerous. God, this joke was too big. Tang Bao stared at Di Junbai below the stage. There was a hidden bitterness in his heart. Why wasn't he the one getting married? If it was, she would be his bride now. Tang Bao's bright red lips were devoured. She widened her eyes in shock. Her first kiss. Chapter 3. Knowing what that meant, Tang Bao's anger deflated like a balloon. Tang Bao was locked in the suite of the hotel room. When she opened the door, there were bodyguards standing outside. She could only retreat. When she opened the window again, there was a balcony. However, if she jumped down from more than 10 floors, how could she survive? There was no way she could escape. She sat on the sofa dispiritedly and thought about how she had provoked Di Haotian. She only knew Di Junbai. Di Haotian was an unapproachable person. He was not as easy to get along with and gentle as Di Junbai. Otherwise, Tang Bao, who came from a small wealthy family, would not be able to get close to the Di family. At that time, Tang Bao was almost hit by a car while walking on the road. It was Di Junbai who saved her. When he saved her, her whole heart followed him. She swore to marry Di Junbai. After knowing Di Junbai's identity, she did not care. She liked Di Junbai as a person. As for Di Haotian, there was probably no one in the capital who did not know him. He was powerful and ruthless. In reality, thanks to Di Junbai, she had met him once. It was at the Di family's banquet. Many daughters from prestigious families wanted to get close to Di Haotian. She still remembered how cold, arrogant, and noble that person was. He was inviolable from head to toe. Tang Bao could not figure out how she had married Di Haotian. Yes, she had done it. However, Di Haotian could have told her to get lost. The air was filled with a surge of invasiveness. Tang Bao was stunned when she saw the person who came in. She immediately stood up defensively and dodged to the side. Di Haotian's well-ironed suit was unbuttoned and his tie was loosened. He had a wild aura as he sat down in her original seat. Although he did not have the oppressive aura of a tall man when he was standing, his aura did not diminish when he sat down. Di Haotian took out a lighter and lit a cigarette. He bit it between his lips and looked at her with a pair of sharp black eyes. His slender hand pinched the silver lighter and flipped the lid, making a tapping sound that shook people's hearts. "Come here." The voice was low and pleasant to the ears, but it sounded like the summons of a messenger from hell. "I don't like the smell of smoke." Tang Bao refused. Di Haotian didn't say a word. He put out the cigarette in the ashtray next to him. Tang Bao was stunned. She did not dislike the smell of cigarettes that much. It was just a valid reason to refuse. Who would want to go over? She didn't expect him to really put out the cigarette. But now that the cigarette was out, she didn't want to go over. "Are you sure you don't want to come?" Tang Bao could sense the danger in his words, so he could only walk over slowly. Then, her waist was grabbed and hugged. Tang Bao immediately sat on Di Haotian's thighs. The muscles on his thighs were very tight. She blushed as the heat seeped through the fabric. She had never leaned so close to a man before. Di Haotian was very satisfied with her jerky reaction. His eyes were deep and dark. He reached out and clamped Tang Bao's chin, forcing her to look into his black eyes. Tang Bao was stunned by his domineering and strong means. She looked at him uneasily. "Want to run away?" Tang Bao knew that his men outside must have said it. She didn't deny it. "Yes. Remember, since you started it, there is no room for regret." Di Haotian's voice was low and there was an irresistible force in it. "Why do you want to continue the wedding? You know that I'm not your bride. It doesn't matter if you don't know now. You will know in the future." Di Haotian's aura was irresistible. Chapter 4. However, she had only met Di Haotian once. Besides, if she had offended him, he wouldn't use marriage against her, right? "Don't tell me you hate Brother Junbai, so you want to steal the person he likes?" Tang Bao admitted that Di Junbai liked her, so he had no choice but to marry her. She was just trying to save him in time. "Then let's use this as a reason for now. Also, I don't care what your relationship with Di Junbai is, but don't let me see anything that I shouldn't see in the future. You are my wife now, so you must know the 3 obedience and 4 virtues. Do you understand?" "What 3 obedience and 4 virtues?" Tang Bao was stunned by the question and blinked her long eyelashes. "Never look at men other than my husband, never say no to my husband, and never disobey my husband in any way." Tang Bao glared at the shameless man with a red face. However, it seemed that Di Haotian was not done yet. "You must be in the kitchen, in the hall, in the bed, and in the floor." Di Haotian said all his requirements, and the domineering aura in his dark eyes could not be disobeyed in the slightest. Tang Bao was dumbfounded. Was this the 3 obedience and 4 virtues? This was clearly Di Haotian being too shameless and acting like a hooligan. There is no such thing as the 3 obedience and 4 virtues. Tang Bao disagreed. "I have the final say." Di Haotian smiled wickedly, looking domineering. Tang Bao was speechless. After leaving the hotel, Tang Bao got into Di Haotian's black car, followed by the bodyguard's car, and went to Di Haotian's residence. Tang Bao sat quietly on the leather seat, biting the veil in her mouth as if she was biting Di Haotian. She was having a mental breakdown. How did her life change so much? She really hoped that this was just a dream where she was invaded by Di Haotian, the devil. Tang Bao did not know where Di Haotian lived. However, after getting out of the car, Tang Bao was dumbfounded. Was this even a house? Neither was the villa. "Are you sure this isn't a noble's castle?" Its cold luster refracted an extravagant aura under the night sky. Its value was definitely immeasurable. Under the illumination of the street lamps and footlights, it was bright and transparent, like a diamond road leading to the castle. "Do you like it?" A low voice sounded in her ears. Tang Bao immediately picked up the wedding dress and dodged to the side, looking depressed. "No matter how good it is, it's not mine. From now on, you are the mistress of this place." Di Haotian's aura was imposing. His boundless black eyes stared deeply at Tang Bao's real face, and the displeasure on his face was clearly visible. Did this little thing not know how many women dreamed of being his woman? If it were anyone else, they would have fainted from happiness after having a one-night stand with him, let alone getting married. Tang Bao entered the castle and was brought into the room by Di Haotian. She felt uncomfortable all over, especially when she saw Di Haotian begin to take off his clothes as soon as he entered the room. She became even more flustered. "What are you afraid of?" Di Haotian, who had taken off his coat, pulled Tang Bao over. "Ah!" Tang Bao crashed into his firm and hard chest and was thrown onto the big bed in the next second. Tang Bao had just recovered from the dizziness in her head when she was firmly shrouded in a shadow. She was so scared that she shrank back. Di Haotian took off his coat and tie, and 3 buttons of his shirt were unbuttoned, revealing his strong muscles. His wild aura was wantonly exuding. Chapter 5. Tang Bao swallowed unconsciously. "What do you want? If I want to do something, can you resist?" Di Haotian asked wickedly. Tang Bao felt that she couldn't. This man was too strong, but she was too scared to speak. She was afraid that she would be eaten if she opened her mouth. "Do you want to take a bath together?" Di Haotian pinched her delicate chin and invited her ambiguously. Tang Bao was horrified. She wanted to shake her head, but found that her chin was fixed in place. She had no choice but to say, You take a bath first." Di Haotian's dark eyes had a wicked smile. He got up from her and turned to go to the bathroom. Tang Bao covered her chest with her hand. She felt that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. Oh my God, are they going to consummate their marriage tonight? How could this be? She had no choice but to come here. She still had to leave Di Haotian. She didn't want to marry this scary and dangerous man for no reason. What should she do? She couldn't escape. Tang Bao got off the bed and paced around anxiously. First, she stared at the wall without moving. Then, she retreated to a certain distance from the wall. After a visual inspection, she held her breath and rushed toward the wall with a bang. Tang Bao fell to the ground and stopped moving. Di Haotian, who was halfway through taking off his clothes, walked out of the bathroom and saw Tang Bao lying motionless on the ground. He went forward to pick her up and found that she had fainted. Di Haotian's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. It was frightening. When Tang Bao woke up, she found herself lying on the bed. When she turned her head and saw the face of the man next to her, she was stunned. Then, she screamed, "Ah!" Di Haotian opened his cold black eyes, which were shining with a sharp light. His voice was low and dignified. "What are you screaming for? Why are you sleeping in my bed?" Tang Bao asked in a panic. She seemed to have just realized that something was wrong with her body. She looked down and found that she wasn't wearing a single piece of gauze. Tang Bao shouted again, as if he was being chased by a wolf. She grabbed the only blanket on the bed and wrapped it around her body before running off the bed. On the bed, Di Haotian didn't even wear pajamas. His clothes were wide open, and his wild aura seemed to be innate, full of aggressiveness. When Tang Bao's gaze fell on Di Haotian, his clear eyes were suddenly filled with fear, and he immediately turned his back to him. Di Haotian, who was lying on the bed, raised the corner of his mouth slightly. His dark eyes were slightly cold, containing a hint of evil. He got up from the bed and walked towards Tang Bao, whose back was facing him. She narrowed her eyes and saw that Tang Bao was blushing all the way to his neck. He had never seen such a scene before, so he was undoubtedly embarrassed. However, Di Haotian continued to approach her. The fragrance coming from the girl's body caused Di Haotian's eyes to darken, as if he was hiding a beast. "Bao Bao, are you satisfied?" A low voice, like a sigh, came from behind her ear, and a hot breath gushed out. Tang Bao's entire body trembled as he felt a numbing sensation. He instinctively wanted to escape, but his waist was firmly held. "Let go of me. I don't know what you're talking about." Tang Bao felt her face burning. "Don't be shy." "There's no need to be," Di Haotian said, then opened his thin lips and bit Tang Bao's bare shoulder with his sharp teeth. Chapter 6. After Di Haotian let go, Tang Bao's neck was instantly left with teeth marks. As if the clean fragrance lingered, Di Haotian applied it again. That feeling was like the pacification of a beast, but it still carried a danger that could not be ignored. It wanted to devour her completely. First it hurt, then it was numbness. Tang Bao's face was crimson. She could not bear it. "No? Didn't you hit the wall very hard last night?" "I won't do it next time." Tang Bao did not know that she could provoke him by hitting the wall. "Next time?" Di Haotian's teeth were pressed against her artery. It was as if his fangs would sink into her if she opened her mouth. There won't be a next time, good girl." After threatening her, Di Haotian was satisfied and let go of her. Tang Bao's face was red and her breathing was rapid. Seeing that Di Haotian was about to enter the bathroom, Tang Bao said, "I don't have any clothes to wear. I want to go home and get them." She did not want to stay here. In fact, she wanted to run away. "There are clothes in the cloakroom," Di Haotian said, and went into the bathroom as if he did not notice Tang Bao's little trick at all. Tang Bao walked into the cloakroom in confusion and was stunned. The cloakroom was like her living room. Tang Bao's house was a villa. The living room was not small, but it was only comparable to Di Haotian's cloakroom. Half of it was men's clothes, and the other half was women's clothes. The frame drawer was full of men's watches. Some of them were even limited edition and expensive. Tang Bao was dazzled. She really felt the gap between her and Di Haotian. In front of the Di family, the Tang family was a poor rich family. She walked to the women's clothes department. Could she wear these women's clothes? Whose clothes were these? Di Haotian's other women prepared these for them when they stayed over? She did not want to think about who these clothes were prepared for. Tang Bao needed to cover up before she thought about going home. She hurriedly put on the clothes. They fit her perfectly. Not to mention the clothes, even the cup size was exactly the same as hers. She tiptoed out of the room. She ran to the huge European-style gate and ran away without looking back. Di Haotian, who was in a suit, took out a watch from the cabinet and put it on his wrist. He Ju appeared outside the cloakroom. "Young master, young mistress has returned to her parents' home. It just so happens that I need to return home after I get married. Get ready." Di Haotian was not in a hurry. He was not worried that his little thing would run away. Yes. He Ju wasn't in a hurry. He accepted the order and left. After Tang Bao ran home, he went into his room. He opened the cupboard, pulled out a suitcase, and began to fill it with ancient clothes. With Di Haotian's influence, it would be easy for him to find her house. Therefore, she had to go outside to hide. She hoped that after a while, Di Haotian would be so angry that he would divorce her and she would be free. "Tang Bao, what are you doing?" A voice appeared in Tang Bao's room. Tang Bao buried his head and tidied up his clothes. He didn't need to look to know that it was Tang Rui. She had always been like this, looking for trouble. "Didn't you hear what I asked you? Did you do something shameful outside again, and now you're planning to run away?" "I went out for a vacation." Tang Bao didn't want to argue with her. "A vacation?" Tang Rui expressed her doubts. Then, she saw that Tang Bao was wearing a pink diamond ring the size of a pigeon egg on his ring finger. It was so exciting that her eyeballs were about to fall out. She stepped forward and grabbed Tang Bao's hand. "You said you didn't do anything bad. Did you go to steal again? Where did you steal it?" Chapter 7. I'm talking nonsense. Aren't you that kind of person? Tang Bao, you'd better give me the diamond ring. Otherwise, I'll tell my father that you're stealing again. Go ahead and tell him if you're happy. I don't care anyway. Tang Bao closed the suitcase, zipped it up, and picked it up to leave. However, her hand was grabbed by Tang Rui. "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" Tang Bao was furious. Give me the diamond ring. Tang Rui grabbed her tightly and refused to let go. She had a disgusting expression on her face. Tang Bao could not get rid of Tang Rui's brute force. She grabbed the bedside table lamp and smashed it on Tang Rui's head. Ouch! Tang Rui fainted on the ground. Tang Bao was in a hurry to escape from Di Haotian. She insisted on wasting time with her. Don't think that she did not dare to do anything to her. She would even smash herself when she was unhappy. She took the opportunity to run away with her suitcase while there was no one at home to ask questions. Why was Tang Bao unwilling to give the diamond ring to Tang Rui? What a joke! Di Haotian's diamond ring must be very valuable. She had to prepare the money before she ran away. At the pawn shop, how much is this worth? Tang Bao handed the diamond ring to the pawnshop owner. The pawnshop owner took the diamond ring and looked at it. His eyes were wide open. He looked at it with a magnifying glass in disbelief. There was surprise and greed in his eyes. How much is it worth? Tang Bao asked impatiently. She did not have time to wait. 50,000. The pawnshop owner stretched out 5 fat fingers. So little? Pawnshop owner, are you kidding me? Tang Bao asked in disbelief. Di Haotian's wealth was enough to fill the sea. His wedding ring was only so little? Look, this pink diamond is fake. Have you seen a pink diamond before? And it's so big? It's already good enough for me to give you 50,000. Tang Bao was in a hurry to leave. She was afraid that Di Haotian would find her, so she had to sell the diamond ring for 50,000 yuan. The military heavy luxury car drove steadily on the road. Behind it were the bodyguards' cars. It was a powerful lineup. He Ju, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, finished the call and said, "Young master, young madam ran to the train station. Previously, I sold my wedding ring to a pawnshop for $50,000. Take it back." Di Haotian's eyes were gloomy. Yes. It's worth 50,000. With such eyesight, there's no need to keep the shop open. Di Haotian's black eyes were as cold as a lake, making people shudder. Understood, He Ju said. To be able to open a large-scale pawnshop, he must have some background. However, he shouldn't have provoked Di Haotian. Even if it was just a brush with Di Haotian, his future would be ruined. For some reason, Tang Bao still felt a little uneasy when he got on the train. Even though the train was already moving, it was still the same. Looking around the carriage, the passengers were talking, playing with their phones, and the children were being stopped by the adult. It was such a common phenomenon. Just when Tang Bao felt that his worries were unnecessary, he saw a few black off-road vehicles driving on the road by the window. They were as powerful and fast as cheetahs. They were traveling at the same speed as the train. What was even more frightening was that the train gradually slowed down. Tang Bao was stunned. He immediately asked the train attendant, "What's going on? Why did the train stop?" Before the train attendant could say anything, the broadcast sounded, "Dear passengers, the train has to be paused for a few minutes for a reason. We apologize for the inconvenience." What was the reason? The train stopped. As soon as the door opened, Tang Bao ran out with his suitcase. Chapter 8. She stared blankly at the bodyguards in front of her, blocking her way. He Ju walked forward and handed over the phone. "Young madam, it's a call from young Master D." Tang Bao stared at the phone in front of her and hesitated for a few seconds before taking it. Di Haotian's low and intimidating voice came from the phone. "Bao Bao, where are you going?" "Di Haotian, I don't want to marry you." "How many women want to marry you? Can't you marry someone else?" "I want to see you in 5 minutes. Otherwise, I'll kill everyone you care about. Don't doubt what I say." An undisguised threat came over. Tang Bao was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Di Haotian must know the people around her like the back of his hand if he could marry her. With Di Haotian's ruthless means, no one in D City dared to provoke him. This man was a demon. "I'll go back now." After Tang Bao responded, she heard Di Haotian's low laughter. Tang Bao's expression became even worse. However, she had no choice but to obediently follow Di Haotian's men back. Di Haotian's car was outside the train station. Tang Bao was escorted into the car like a criminal, except for the handcuffs on her hand. The car was spacious. Tang Bao sat in the seat furthest away from Di Haotian. As soon as she sat down, the car drove steadily away from the train station. There was a stifling atmosphere in the car. In order to escape, you even sold your wedding ring. How should I punish you, Bao Bao? Di Haotian crossed his long legs in a lazy and deep posture. His pair of deep eyes stared at the depressed little face opposite him. I don't have that much money on me. There must be a lot of things that I need to spend money on. Tang Bao's expression was a little unnatural. You sold a diamond ring worth 800 million for only 50,000 yuan. You really shouldn't have. What? 800 million? Are you kidding? However, Di Haotian's sullen expression didn't seem to be joking. Tang Bao was unhappy. That boss said that it was only worth 50,000 yuan, and that 50,000 yuan was already good enough. So he lied to me. The next time I see him, I'll teach him a lesson. You're still in the mood to care about others. Di Haotian narrowed his long and narrow eyes dangerously. Tang Bao's little heart shrank as he said, What did I do to offend you? Why do you have to hold on to me and not let me go? You tell me, I apologize, I make it up to you. Is that okay? Di Haotian stared at her distressed appearance, and his thin lips raised a sexy arc. No. The more you run, the more interested I am. Tang Bao felt that this man's hobbies were really scary. Perhaps Di Haotian was an extraordinary person, and the way he did things was even more unpredictable. Got it. You only have one chance to make a mistake here. Don't let it happen again. Otherwise, you'll know that you won't be able to take it when I strip you naked when I'm angry. Tang Bao's face was burning. How could he say such shameful and intimidating words? When he was in a daze, his hand felt slightly cold. Tang Bao came back to his senses and saw that the pink diamond ring worth 800 million yuan was once again on her ring finger. He felt that it had nothing to do with happiness and was more like a handcuff. You're not allowed to take it off again. He was extremely domineering. If he went against Di Haotian, the end result would be that Tang Bao would be too horrible to look at. It didn't even need to think about it. Tang Bao was very depressed. I agree to your request, but I also have a request, Tang Bao said. Speak. Although we're already married, I don't want my family to know. Tang Bao's face was a little gloomy. The reason. Chapter 9. I want to hear it from you. It's nothing. It's just that I don't have a good relationship with my family. I don't want to tell them. Okay. The curtains on the car window were tightly drawn. No one could see in from the outside, and no one could see out from the inside. Tang Bao lowered her gaze slightly and stared at her fingers in a daze. After her mother passed away, her father, Tang Qishan, married Tang Rui's mother, Zhou Xiangting. The two families could be considered a combined family. Naturally, the conflict between them was not small. Tang Bao felt that no matter how close she was to outsiders, she still had her biological father. But time proved that her relationship with Tang Qishan became more and more distant. No matter what happened, he always sided with Zhou Xiangting and her mother, as if Tang Rui was his biological daughter. Tang Bao once tried to narrow the gap between the combined family and even make it disappear. Who knew that it was all in vain? Tang Bao hated her father, so she did not want to tell any of them about such a thing. Di Haotian's gaze was slightly deep and cold as he stared at Tang Bao's face. Tang Bao felt the cold and sharp gaze. When she raised her eyes, the cold feeling all over her body disappeared. Only Di Haotian's deep and dark eyes remained. Was it her illusion? I can help you. Di Haotian's dark eyes flashed with coldness. No, it's just a family conflict. I can solve it myself. Tang Bao refused. If Di Haotian helped, it would be too scary. The Tang family would definitely be in serious trouble. Moreover, she did not want Di Haotian to help her. By the way, I have classes in the afternoon. I'm going to school. No hurry. Let's go back to the castle first. Di Haotian did not force her to help the Tang family and went along with her wishes. Everything they ate at noon in the castle was extremely precious, even a chopstick was made of pure silver. But she did not care at all. She was most grateful to Di Haotian for letting her go. After the tableware was set, the steward stood at her side and respectfully said, "Young madam, I am the castle's supervisor, Lian. This was Deputy Director Zhang Li. If you have any requests in terms of food and clothing, you can let us know and we will make the appropriate arrangements for you." Tang Bao looked at Lian and Zhang Li, shook his head and said, "No, I'll eat whatever you prepare. By the way, don't call me young madam. My name is Tang Bao. You can call me whatever you want." Lian was in a dilemma. "I can't? But you just said that I can tell you if I have any requests. My request isn't that big, right?" Tang Bao asked curiously. This might be the first time that Lian was troubled by such a request after serving in the castle for so many years. "The first rule here is that those who offend their superiors will have to leave," Di Haotian said sternly. Tang Bao stared. "You're too domineering. You'll know in the future that I'll only be more domineering." Di Haotian used his chopsticks to put the food into Tang Bao's bowl. Tang Bao bit her soft lips. To her, this was already very domineering. She could not imagine what it would be like to be even more domineering. She felt that she was not used to such a strong person at all. After the meal, Tang Bao went to school. As soon as she entered the classroom, she was pulled out by Wan Malay. Wan Malay did not know whether to say that she was excited or worried. As it turned out, she was excited to the point of jumping for joy. "What's going on? How did you become married to Di Haotian? I'm telling you, you'll become the public enemy." Chapter 10. Of course not. You haven't told me yet. I'm confused now. The media is reporting that the second son of the Di family is getting married. Not only is the groom Di Haotian, but he hasn't thrown you out yet. It's unbelievable. He's the king of Di City. Wan Malay couldn't describe her feelings. She still hadn't recovered from her shock after a day and night. "You're asking me? I'm as confused as you are. Who knows why Di Haotian would marry me? I can't wait to stay away from him." Tang Bao was only troubled now. "Sai, you're asking for a beating. I think he might have fallen in love with you at first sight and then followed his heart." Wan Malay used her imagination. She clasped her hands together and looked like she was in love. "Have you watched too many domineering CEOs? Can you be more realistic? I think he must have some ulterior motive. Anyway, I'll find out. When the time comes, I'll divorce him." Tang Bao clenched her fists and swore. "Have you thought it through? Women who want to marry Di Haotian can circle Di City a few times. Everyone is trying their best to get into his arms. Do you know how much you're worth now? Wow, this is the wedding diamond ring? It's so beautiful. And it's pink. It must be very valuable." Wan Malay held Tang Bao's finger and stared at it as if she was worshipping it. Of course it was valuable. It was 800 million yuan. In her ordinary university, which family had such a high net worth? One ring could buy several schools like this. Tang Bao pulled her hand back and said unhappily, "Can you stop being infatuated? If you like it so much, you should marry him. Also, if anyone asks, just say that I bought it from a $10 store for fun." "You really don't know how lucky you are." Wan Malay sighed. "You know that the person I like is the gentle and elegant Di Junbai, not Di Haotian, that devil," Tang Bao said angrily. "He's your brother-in-law now. Don't let your imagination run wild," Wan Malay reminded her. How could Tang Bao not know that? She was so angry that she stomped her feet. So annoying. After class, Tang Bao went back to the dormitory to get her phone. There was a call from Tang Qishan on her phone. Ignoring her, she took her things and left the dormitory. She really did not want to go back to the castle. As soon as he entered the castle, Tang Bao stopped in his tracks when he passed by the lounge. She stared blankly at the side profile of Di Junbai, who was standing in front of the glass wall with a glass in his hand. His gaze was gentle and calm. Being stared at by him, it was like the warmth of the sun in winter, the comfort of being surrounded by the sea. This was the Prince Charming in her heart. Di Junbai sensed someone and turned around. When he saw her, he couldn't help but smile. "He's back." Tang Bao stepped forward and asked, "Did you do it on purpose on the day of the wedding? Why would you do that? Are you referring to the media's coverage of my wedding? Big Brother might mean that he wanted to protect you." "It doesn't matter to me," Di Junbai said understandingly. Hearing this, Tang Bao understood that Di Junbai didn't know that she was going to steal the wedding. Everything was controlled and manipulated by Di Haotian. Outsiders didn't know about it and thought that it was a secret wedding with her consent. It was nonsense. Fortunately, Di Junbai didn't scheme against her with Di Haotian. Chapter 11. She couldn't tell him the truth. She couldn't say, "I knew that Brother Junbai was getting married that day, so I went to steal the bride. I didn't expect the groom to be your brother." Wouldn't that be telling Di Junbai the truth that she liked him? She had always had a crush on him. While she was in a daze, another low and cold voice sounded. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Tang Bao froze. She turned around and saw Di Haotian suddenly appear. He heard what I said to Di Junbai just now? Go back to your room." Di Haotian's tall figure walked in, giving her a strong sense of oppression. His dark eyes were filled with an irresistible force. Tang Bao glanced at Di Junbai and ran away. "What's the matter?" Di Haotian asked lightly. Di Junbai couldn't help but look worried. "Wanru was very shocked when she found out about your marriage. She's sick. I was wondering if you could persuade her? The best way to persuade her is to pretend that she doesn't exist. I don't have the patience to coax a woman." After Tang Bao returned to her and Di Haotian's room, she didn't find a place to sit down. She just walked around. Thinking about it, he wondered if she could sleep alone in a room. She didn't want to share a bed with Di Haotian. It was too embarrassing. For someone who had never been in love before, everything she endured was like a storm. She couldn't stand it. She needed to protect herself, didn't she? She was going to leave this place in the future. She couldn't have any further relationship with Di Haotian. The door opened and Di Haotian's tall figure walked in. He was cold and threatening. Tang Bao stood there and didn't move. She looked at the person who came in and even the person who was approaching her. Before she could retreat, she was trapped between Di Haotian and the wall. Tang Bao was stunned and reached out to push him. However, when her hands landed on Di Haotian's chest, she only felt that his muscles were strong and firm and emitted a scorching heat. No matter how hard she tried, the chest in front of her wouldn't budge. "What are you doing?" Tang Bao's jaw was clamped down and he was forced to raise it. He was forced to look into that pair of evil and dangerous eyes. "Did you forget what I said? I never look at men other than my husband. This request is too much. I'm just looking at it normally. There are so many men outside. How could I not see it? There are those who pay attention and those who accidentally look. How can we control them?" Tang Bao retorted unhappily. "Is that so?" Di Haotian smiled coldly. Tang Bao's heart tightened. His vision blurred, and he was thrown onto the sofa at the side. Then, a thick shadow came down and shrouded the sky above. When Tang Bao saw such a fierce man from the bottom, his body trembled. He was so scared that he wanted to get up quickly. "Go away, don't touch me. I'm telling you, I won't agree. I never say no to my husband when he needs it." Di Haotian lowered his head and rested it on Tang Bao's swan-like neck. It was as if he would eat her up if she didn't behave. Tang Bao immediately stopped him. Her breathing was unsteady. "I never stop my husband when he's in the middle of it." Di Haotian pressed Tang Bao tightly under him. The girl's sweet and delicious body was tempting him. Tang Bao's entire body was trapped inside. Her delicate face was flushed red, and she couldn't get up no matter how hard she tried. Her eyes were filled with flustered tears. Chapter 12. Di Haotian raised his head. His dark eyes were so deep that they seemed to be able to swallow a person whole. Tang Bao only felt that the strong fingertips pinching her chin were very hot. It was extremely dangerous as it penetrated her skin and passed to her. There's only 1 year left. It won't be long, right? Tang Bao was so nervous that she laughed dryly. Di Haotian's dark eyes were evil and aggressive. He stared at her for a few seconds, then suddenly let go of her, and said in a low and hoarse voice, "Okay." When the heavy shadow on her body disappeared, Tang Bao almost collapsed on the sofa. Her tense nerves felt sore after she relaxed. She quickly got up and sat on the sofa. Seeing that Di Haotian agreed to her request so easily, Tang Bao struck while the iron was hot and asked, "I want to stay in a room alone, is that okay? So I can move in with you after I graduate from university?" She definitely could not wait until that day. Okay. She could not believe that Di Haotian suddenly became so easy to talk to. However, Di Haotian immediately ordered Zhang Li to prepare a room for her. It was right next to Di Haotian's room. Although Tang Bao was not very satisfied with this distance, she knew that she should not push it too far. She should be satisfied to be able to move out of Di Haotian's room. When Tang Bao finished showering at night, her phone rang again. The caller ID showed that it was Tang Qishan. Tang Bao hesitated for a moment before answering. Before she could say anything, the person on the other side of the phone questioned her first. "Did you hit Rui? She stole something from me." Tang Bao did not feel that she was wrong. "So you hit her? You're an adult. Don't you know how to judge the severity of the matter? What if something happened?" Tang Qishan's voice was very angry. It was as if the person who was hit was his own daughter. "Is Tang Rui dead? Or is she in a vegetative state? Since she just fainted, why are you so angry? People who don't know will think that I killed your own daughter." Tang Bao ended the call right away and threw the person and the phone onto the bed. "Don't you feel sad?" Of course she was upset. But what could he do? She should be used to it. She had been trying to get used to it. She was treated so differently from Tang Rui. He had been like this since he was young. Tang Rui went to an elite school, while she went to an ordinary school. Zhou Xiangding said that the elite school only wanted Tang Rui. Tang Qishan believed him. Don't you know about the Tang Bao? This was just Zhou Xiangding's trick. He wanted to save all the money and use it on his daughter. The next day, Tang Bao was called to the school by the principal. "This is your graduation certificate." Tang Bao opened his mouth in shock. After a long while, he said, "Principal, did you make a mistake? I still have a year to go before I graduate." "I'm fine. Even if there's still a year to go, I'll still give you a diploma." "Student Tang, you've graduated," the principal said with a smile. It was the first time he found the principal so kind and amiable. Tang Bao could not smile at all. She finally knew why Di Haotian was so easy to talk to. He actually used his power to get her to graduate. For others, this was harder than reaching the sky, but for Di Haotian, it was easy. Tang Bao had just walked into the castle when he seemed to hear the sound of a woman crying. There was a woman? Di Haotian brought a woman back? But from the sound of it, it seemed like she was being bullied? Outside the side hall, Tang Bao leaned against the door and quietly looked inside. He saw the tall Di Haotian standing inside. Opposite him was a weak woman crying. Chapter 13. This was too brazen. Even if this marriage was not what she wanted, Di Haotian was too brazen. She had to admit that he was too arrogant. "No matter how many women you have outside, I've never cared, because I know that you're not sincere. But you got married and I was the last to know. You knew that I liked you for a long time, so much so that my heart was about to break. Why did you do this to me? There must be a reason for marrying a girl you don't even like, right?" Lan Wanru wiped her tears from time to time, looking extremely sad. "Since you know that I'm married, you should know what to do. You're not in good health, let the driver send you back. Di Haotian was expressionless. Lan Wanru was extremely sad and turned around with tears falling down her face. Tang Bao, who was hiding by the door, quickly ran into the hall and pretended that she had just returned. Lan Wanru walked out of the side hall. When she saw Tang Bao, her crying expression changed. She glanced at Tang Bao and walked out. Tang Bao furrowed her elegant brows. Why did she seem to see hatred in this woman's eyes just now? Was she seeing things? She did not offend her. After Di Haotian walked out, Tang Bao immediately went forward. She did not forget the reason why she ran back so excitedly. Di Haotian, what do you mean by this? How did I graduate? Didn't you say that I can touch you as long as I graduate? Now that you've graduated, you can do whatever you want. Di Haotian's lips curled into a sinister smile. His dark eyes were aggressive under the light, like a demon. Tang Bao looked at him and stepped back. She crossed her arms and said, "No. I'm talking about a real graduation. You're cheating. If you really want to do that kind of thing, why don't you find another woman? I think that woman just now is quite beautiful." Bao Bao is so generous? Di Haotian's aura became deeper, noble and evil. Unfortunately, other women can't arouse my interest. Tang Bao's face was red and hot. How could he say such a thing? She didn't feel lucky at all. She should be afraid of being possessed by a demon. That won't do. Even if it's not after I graduate from university, it shouldn't be now. I need to be mentally prepared. Tang Bao was stalling for time. How long? Di Haotian asked in a low voice. 10 months. That's too long. 1 month. Di Haotian's eyes darkened. What? Half a year is too short. Tang Bao felt that a month had passed very quickly. How could it be so easy to leave Di Haotian? This man's influence could cover the sky. Even the train had been forced to stop by him, and he had given away his diploma just like that. 2 months, Di Haotian said. 5 months, Tang Bao said. 3 months, Di Haotian said. 4 months, Tang Bao said. 5 months, Di Haotian said. 3 months, Tang Bao said. Deal. Tang Bao was speechless. Di Haotian looked at her with interest, and there was a scheming look in his dark eyes. Tang Bao looked at the tall figure who turned and walked away. She wanted to cry but had no tears. She had been schemed against by Di Haotian, the demon. She had to accept her fate and marry Di Haotian. Could she accept her fate? She and Di Haotian were not in the same world. This man was too scary. Tang Bao was usually quite smart, but when she was in front of Di Haotian, she could only be schemed against. 3 months. How should she use these 3 months? Chapter 14. After Zhang Li asked the maids to leave, he asked, "What's the matter, young madam? I want to ask you something. Don't tell Di Haotian. Who is the woman who came to the castle today?" Tang Bao asked. "Young madam, are you referring to Miss Lan? She is the niece of the second madam of the Di family. Because the second madam's sister passed away, the second madam has been raising her like her own daughter," Zhang Li said. Tang Bao thought about it. Wasn't that Di Junbai's sister? Di Junbai's father was Di Haotian's uncle. Di Junbai had told her about these relationships before. However, their power was not as strong as Di Haotian's. Di Haotian was the main family, and Di Junbai's family was just a subsidiary. Tang Bao also knew that after Di Haotian's father passed away, he had a mother, but his mother did not live here. Tang Bao did not care very much. Rich families could be so complicated. Even a small rich family like the Tang family was very complicated. It could also be seen how ruthless Di Haotian was. At such a young age, he controlled the lifeline of the entire Di family. No wonder everyone was afraid of Di Haotian. That woman likes Di Haotian? Tang Bao asked with a little gossip. "I'm sorry, young madam. We can't ask about the young master's private affairs." Zhang Li lowered his head slightly. A low and lazy voice interrupted. "If there's anything you don't understand, ask me directly." Tang Bao was shocked. She turned around and saw Di Haotian, who had appeared out of nowhere. His tall figure leaned lazily against the door and looked at her with his dark eyes. Zhang Li bowed to Di Haotian and left. Tang Bao was left alone to face it. I don't want to know anything. I'm going to sleep. Good night, Tang Bao said and slipped away. Tang Bao was forced to change her fate and marry a man that women flocked to. However, she was not happy at all. She stayed in the classroom and lay on the desk as if she had suffered a blow. She used to live in the school, but since she married Di Haotian, she lived in the castle every day. It was very comfortable and luxurious. She felt like a princess living in it. Di Haotian also promised to give her 3 months. He didn't do anything excessive and gave her the best food and clothes. It was a luxurious life that others couldn't even dream of. However, who would dare to accept such an ambiguous marriage? Why are you so listless? Get up. Wan Mirai sat down next to the seat. What are you doing? Tang Bao was not interested. A few of my classmates are going to a bar tonight. Are you going or not? Tang Bao had gone to a bar with his classmate. They were all eating, drinking, and having fun. But it was also quite fun. She got along well with a few of her classmates. Whenever they played together, they would invite her along. Anyway, Tang Bao liked to have fun at her age. Is it because your family is too strict that you can't go? Wan Malay knew that Tang Bao was different from before. She was already married. However, Tang Bao was not very happy when she heard this. She never knew what a strict family was. She suddenly sat up straight and slammed the table. Why can't I go? Because you are a person now, wife, Wan Malay reminded her in a low voice. I'm going to show you what freedom is. Tang Bao's heart was set ablaze. Tang Bao called the castle and said that she had a party with her classmates in the evening and would be back later. After that, she went to a bar with her classmates to have fun. Chapter 15. Everyone else had gone to dance. She was the only one who stared at the snacks on the table and drank wine. She felt like an ordinary citizen who was eating peanuts with wine. It was as if she was here for food. Just as Tang Bao stared at the dancing figures on the dance floor, a middle-aged man sat down opposite her. I've had my eyes on you since you came in. I like you very much. Tang Bao chewed and chewed as she coldly looked at the man's friendly face. Then, she slammed her hand on the table. Her slender white fingers, especially the pink wedding ring on her ring finger, were so eye-catching. Sorry. The middle-aged man smiled awkwardly when he saw the wedding ring. He stood up and left. Wan Malay saw this scene clearly from afar. She returned to her seat. Are you really going to sit here and eat until you're full? Wan Malay asked. What else can I do? Tang Bao was very resentful. People who come here to play can't wait to take off their wedding rings and hide them in their pocket. You, on the other hand, have your diamond ring become a weapon to reject romantic encounters. Didn't you see that the man just now was almost my father? Tang Bao did not want to admit that she was dispirited because of Di Haotian. Okay, you want a handsome man. But I can promise you that you won't find a man more handsome than Di Haotian. I'm not talking to you anymore. I drank a little too much. I'm going to the bathroom to pee. Tang Bao was not willing to talk to Wan Malay. She got up and left her seat, but her steps were a little weak. Do you want me to accompany you? No need. On the way to the bathroom, Tang Bao was not convinced. Her small face was as red as a ripe and tempting apple. She had to admit that Di Haotian's face was like a sculpture carved by the god. It was angular and strong, and a pair of narrow and sharp eyes with the cold arrogance of a strong man. There was not a trace of flaw in his face, whether it was the side of his face or the front. However, his personality was too strong and domineering. He was definitely the reincarnation of a devil. After he was done, Tang Bao came out of the bathroom, but his path was blocked. Tang Bao thought that he was in the way and walked to the side. Who would have thought that the person in front would also move to the side? Tang Bao looked up and saw two men with bad intentions. Excuse me, can you move aside? Little girl, are you alone? What are you doing? Tang Bao frowned. When the two men approached, she took a few steps back in disgust. Of course, we'll treat our little sister to a drink, and our little sister will treat us to milk. The man's lewd eyes stared at Tang Bao's chest. She's really something. She's so young. I can't tell. The man who was speaking was caught off guard and his head was hit. His whole body swayed dizzily, but he steadied himself and didn't faint. Tang Bao stared blankly at the brick in his hand. Did he have no strength after drinking? He actually didn't knock him out? This was the first time he had failed. Damn it, I think you're looking for death. The man angrily reached out to grab Tang Bao. Tang Bao couldn't react for a moment and was stunned. However, his hand stopped a few centimeters away from her chest. The man's wrist was grabbed and he couldn't move at all. Not only that, the man's whole face was twisted in pain. Tang Bao looked up and saw Di Haotian. His eyes were cold and ruthless. He exerted force in his hand, and the man screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Young master? The two men saw Di Haotian's face clearly, and their faces turned pale with fright. Chapter 16. Di Haotian's voice sounded like it came from hell. I didn't know that she was your woman. Young Master Di, please spare me. I won't dare to do it again. Di Haotian did not relent because of the other party's pleas. He Ju's sharp knife flashed in his hand, and the tendons of the two men's hands and feet were cut off. Blood splattered everywhere. Tang Bao stood there, shocked by Di Haotian's ruthlessness. It was one thing to hear about it, but it was another thing to see it with your own eyes. These two men would be useless for the rest of their lives. Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian's face, which was half submerged in the darkness, suddenly turned around. It was so cold that the blood in her body froze. Tang Bao still did not know Di Haotian well enough. All she knew was that he forced her to get married. Would he do anything to her in a fit of anger? Therefore, when Di Haotian approached step by step, Tang Bao crossed her arms in front of her chest and kept retreating. Let me make it clear first. What happened just now was not my fault. Di Haotian directly pressed her against the hard wall. He was too tall, so he had to lower his upper body. It was a very heavy and powerful posture. Did I give you too much freedom? Absolutely not. Tang Bao straightened her back and formed a horizontal line with the wall. Then it's because I didn't do enough for you to provoke men. After Di Haotian finished speaking, he pulled Tang Bao's arm. He pushed open the door of the restroom next to him. Inside, a man and a woman were hugging each other and kissing passionately. They were shocked by the violent slamming of the door. Tang Bao buried her head in embarrassment. What was Di Haotian trying to do? Get out, Di Haotian said arrogantly and coldly. The two men did not dare to provoke Di Haotian and quickly ran away. Tang Bao did not know what he was going to do. When she saw Di Haotian slamming the door, she felt that the situation was serious. She wanted to open the door with both hands, but Di Haotian pulled her to sit on the innermost chair. Then, Di Haotian's thick shadow covered the sky, covering the lights above. What did that man do to you just now? Di Haotian asked deeply. Tang Bao tried to hide the panic on her face. No matter what he did, he didn't succeed. Are you very disappointed? Of course not. Tang Bao immediately retorted. Disappointed? Was she that kind of person? Didn't he see that she had hit him with a brick? He just didn't knocked out. Don't be disappointed. I have the obligation to let you know what it feels like. What? Di Haotian, don't do anything stupid. Tang Bao was still shouting, but the next second, the buttons on her suspenders were undone. She did not see how Di Haotian's big hand waved, and both suspenders were undone. Tang Bao panicked and tried to push Di Haotian away with both hands. However, how could Di Haotian be interested in her strength? It was like a drop of water falling into the vast ocean. It was useless. Both of her wrists were clamped by Di Haotian's hand. His strength shocked Tang Bao and made her even more terrified. Di Haotian, you said you would give me 3 months. Tang Bao shouted in a panic. She was so scared that tears were coming out of her eyes. Please don't eat me here. Di Haotian hesitated for a moment. His dark eyes narrowed and a dim light flashed in them. Then, he let go of Tang Bao's hand. Tang Bao breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this person did not forget what he said. Chapter 17. Tang Bao's head was out, but her arms were still in her sleeves. In this way, she was trapped in the t-shirt. The t-shirt became the best weapon to tie her up. Before she could react to the situation, the man's burning gaze immediately made Tang Bao feel danger. Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian in shock and anger, and her heart suddenly jumped. Di Haotian's dark eyes narrowed dangerously as he stared at Tang Bao, and his breathing became heavier, so beautiful. Tang Bao was so embarrassed that she almost fainted. What was he trying to do? She struggled in panic. Hey, what are you doing? Let go. Di Haotian pinched her moving jaw, and his dark eyes were dark. I can give you freedom, but don't overestimate my patience. You said 3 months and it's only been a few days. You can't go back on your words? Tang Bao's face was red. She didn't know if it was because she was scared, or because the man was too close to her, or because something terrible was going to happen next. No. You can't. Tang Bao cried out in fear. She couldn't imagine being tied up here and being touched by Di Haotian like that. Even if she didn't have any physical relationship with Di Haotian, the image was so emotional. No, let me go, I won't dare to do it again. Tang Bao's eyes were filled with tears, and they were about to fall at any time. I'll let you know the consequences of a disobedient child. Di Haotian's voice was hoarse. The bodyguards outside stood in 2 straight rows, and people who went to the washroom had to take a detour. Soon, Tang Bao's sobbing voice could be heard. About 20 minutes later, a neatly dressed Tang Bao came out of the restroom and walked step by step toward the hall with her back hunched. She clutched her chest with one hand as if she was in great pain. Wan Malay went forward and asked, What's wrong? Does your heart hurt? Tang Bao raised his head and looked at Wan Malay with a red face and eyes full of resentment. What's wrong with you? Before he could get a response, he saw Di Haotian walking out from behind. His tall stature was a cut above the rest, and his inviolable nobility was accompanied by a frosty sharpness. Wan Malay couldn't help but take a few steps back from the powerful aura. Then, Tang Bao was taken away. The next day, Tang Bao went to school. He was lying on the table alone, biting the ruby on the ring in his mouth. In the past, she liked to bite her finger when she was thinking about things. Now that she had a ring on her finger, she could only bite the ring with hatred towards Di Haotian. Until now, a night had passed, but she still felt a little uncomfortable. It was as if the grip and strength were still there, and it was so hot that it was about to burn her. 3 months. She felt as if those 3 days were purgatory. Were you okay last night? Wan Malay sat down on the stool and asked with concern. I'm sorry, I didn't know that your family was so strict. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have called you. Are you deliberately making fun of me? Tang Bao asked weakly. There was no sense of guilt in his voice at all. It was more like he was gloating. Chapter 18. Chest tightness. Too much chest tightness? It seems that I won't be able to experience this feeling for the rest of my life, Wan Malay said regretfully. The phone on his body rang. Tang Bao took it out and looked at it. His gloomy mood sank a little. Seeing that Tang Bao was staring at the phone screen and did not answer, Wan Malay leaned over to take a look. It showed the word Dad. Aren't you going to answer it? Tang Bao really wanted to press the button, but he only answered it when the ringtone was about to stop. The day after tomorrow is my wedding anniversary with your Aunt Zhou. You must attend. There was a ball of fire in Tang Bao's heart, but she forcefully suppressed it and said, Got it? After hanging up the phone, he threw the phone on the table. Why are you so calm? It's rare that you and your dad didn't quarrel. I told you that there's no overnight hatred between father and daughter. If you hate that mother and daughter, then ignore them. Your dad will always be your dad. Tang Bao rolled his eyes and said disdainfully, he asked me to attend his wedding anniversary with Zhou Xiangting tomorrow. You agreed? Why not? Don't I know what that mother and daughter are thinking? They're waiting for my dad to be powerless to take over the company. It's not that I don't want to force them. It's that no one can take away what's mine. So, I have to show my appreciation for the so-called wedding anniversary. Wan Milei looked expectantly. I feel that they're going to be unlucky. How could Tang Bao be willing to attend the Tang Qishan wedding anniversary? He even made a special call. Was he deliberately trying to make her feel uncomfortable? It was her dad's wedding anniversary, but not her mom's. Tang Bao knew how much of it was Zhou Xiangting and her daughter's idea. They were all two-faced people with honeyed words and swords in their hearts. At their place, Tang Bao had suffered many hidden losses. The banquet was at night, so Tang Bao needed to ask for leave from Di Haotian. It was approved. The banquet had been going on for a while. Only then did the Tang Bao arrive. The banquet was attended by all the major and minor figures in the business world. The banquet was decorated with jewels and jewelry, which was also in line with Zhou Xiangting's taste. Tang Bao, on the other hand, was wearing a chong sam. The cut of the chong sam accentuated her graceful figure, making her stand out from all the other evening gowns in the banquet hall. However, when Zhou Xiangting saw the chong sam on Tang Bao's body, the smile on his face suddenly disappeared. Tang Rui, who was standing next to her, saw Tang Bao's outfit and asked in confusion, Mom, what does she mean by this? What are they wearing? Are you trying to be shabby on purpose? What do you know? The chong sam she was wearing was what her mother and father had worn when they got married. It's not that she's shabby, she's here to cause trouble. Zhou Xiangting said with a fake smile. Let me teach her a lesson. Tang Rui stepped forward as he said that. Zhou Xiangting did not stop him. After all, Tang Qishan had said that he was not around to receive an important guest. It was also her intention as a stepmother to teach his daughter a lesson. Tang Bao was looking for Tang Qishan everywhere. Wasn't it their wedding anniversary? Why were there only Zhou Xiangting and her daughter here? Just as he was about to ask someone, he saw Tang Rui rushing in front of him with ill intentions. You're wearing a chong sam on our parents' wedding anniversary? Now get out of here. Tang Rui ordered arrogantly. What? You're asking me to get out? Look clearly, who's the outsider here? Also, I'm just wearing a chong sam. Why are you overreacting? Tang Bao asked innocently. Chapter 19. What's wrong? Can't I wear my mother's clothes? I think my mother's clothes look good. No matter how good they look, she's dead. Tang Bao's expression was ugly. She clenched her fists and her nails dug into her flesh. What's wrong? Are you unhappy? Let me tell you, not only is your mother dead, but you also have no status in the family. I think you'd better not go back to the Tang family, lest you make Dad angry again. Tang Rui only wanted to be the only young lady of the Tang family. It would be best if Tang Bao disappeared, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not chase him away. Tang Bao had seen Tang Rui's shamelessness before, but she still looked at her differently every time. Also, can you return the ring to me? What ring? The pink ring on your finger. Tang Rui's ultimate goal was, of course, not the chong sam on Tang Bao's body. She wanted the ring on Tang Bao's finger. She liked it at first sight. After that, she tried to go to a jewelry store to look for it, but she did not find any colored jewelry. Even if she did find a blue diamond, it was expensive and not so transparent. It was not as good as Tang Bao's pink ring. When did my ring become yours? Tang Bao found it funny. Tang Rui was unhappy and her voice became louder. She deliberately said it for others to hear, and her voice was especially aggrieved. I know you've never liked me. I really want to be good sisters with you. No matter what you want, I'll give it to you. But can you return the ring to me? After saying that, she started to cry. Tang Bao looked at her and felt that it was a waste if she did not become an actress. Soon, Tang Rui's aggrieved crying attracted the attention of others. There were people of the same age, men and women. They all saw the beautiful pink ring on Tang Bao's finger. They had never seen such a beautiful pink diamond before. It was amazing. Those of the same age were probably Tang Rui's friends. They stood beside Tang Rui and said, "Rui is crying. Why don't you return the ring to her?" "That's right. It looks like this ring is very important to Rui. Otherwise, she wouldn't be crying so sadly." Tang Rui saw the situation and said, "Yes. Because it's very important, I wanted to come back. Today is my parents' wedding anniversary. I don't want to be like this. I'm really sad." "Don't say that everything is yours. Things that are not yours will never become yours." Tang Bao really did not want to argue with people like Tang Rui. But what about the guests next to them? Her gaze made it seem as if she had taken someone else's stuff for the Tang Bao. Tang Bao looked at Zhou Xiangding. Zhou Xiangding turned his face away and pretended not to see what was happening here. In Tang Rui's teary eyes there was only pride, not sadness. He would do anything to achieve his goal, and he wasn't afraid of embarrassing himself at all. Just as the place was bustling with noise, it suddenly quieted down. There was only a commotion at the door behind him. It seemed like some big shot had arrived. Tang Bao frowned and turned around to see Tang Qishan. She didn't know if Tang Qishan was unhappy to see her or was unhappy to see what happened here. In any case, his expression was not very good, as if she was the one who caused this. Tang Bao was unhappy, but when he saw another tall and straight man, Tang Bao could only be stunned. Why was Di Haotian here? Didn't she say not to let her family know about their marriage? Why did he appear so brazenly on this sensitive wedding anniversary? Chapter 20. He could easily destroy all the third-rate tycoons present with a single sentence. Di Haotian was the kind of person who could not sit when he was standing, and could not sit with him when he was sitting. Therefore, his appearance made everything pale in comparison. Careful. When Tang Rui saw the real Di Haotian appear in front of her, his unruly and indifferent temperament immediately attracted her whole heart, and her face turned red with excitement. However, if she could attract Di Haotian, the current situation was just right. Therefore, Tang Rui complained first. She went forward and pulled Tang Qishan's hand like a spoiled child, crying, "Dad, you have to help me." Tang Qishan glanced at Tang Bao, then looked away and whispered to Tang Rui, "What's the fuss about?" "Tang Bao took my pink diamond. Last time, she knocked me out because she wanted to snatch my pink diamond. This time, I asked her for it, but she still refused to give it to me. She even openly wore it on her finger." Tang Rui sobbed softly and said while wiping her tears, "Where did you get the pink diamond?" Tang Qishan asked Tang Rui. Before Tang Rui could say anything, Zhou Xiangding, who had been watching from the sidelines, came over. "It's like this. Some time ago, I was shopping outside and happened to see this ring in a jewelry store. I thought it looked good, so I bought it. It was not worth much, so I gave it to Tang Rui to play with. I didn't expect her to like it so much. Forget it, Rui, it's just a ring. Today is Mom and Dad's wedding anniversary. Don't be so calculative. Mom will buy you another one next time." No. Mom's gift is very meaningful to me. How can I give it to others casually?" Tang Rui continued to cry. Then, she said to Tang Bao sensibly, "What kind of ring do you like? I'll sell it to you separately, okay?" Tang Bao did not say anything. Ever since Di Haotian appeared, he had been gloating. Because Di Haotian had ordered her not to take it off. The more Zhou Xiangding and her daughter spoke, the harder it was for them to clean up the mess. Tang Qishan also felt that this was not a big deal. Besides, there were distinguished guests here, so he said, "This is a small matter. We'll talk about it later. Young master, this way please." Di Haotian didn't move. His deep and cold eyes flashed as he said, "Although this is a family matter of the Tang family, it's better to talk things out." Tang Bao looked over. Di Haotian's expression was unfathomable, and there was a faint sharpness in his dark eyes. Not to mention the Tang Qishan, everyone present was surprised. The all-powerful Di Haotian seemed to be interested in the family affairs of the Tang family. Tang Qishan looked at Tang Bao. "If it's Rui, give it to her. If you like the ring, I'll give you money to buy it." Should Tang Bao be touched? Did he think that the ring was Tang Rui's without even asking? Tang Bao's expression suddenly turned ugly. She looked at Tang Qishan coldly and stubbornly refused to speak. However, Tang Qishan only wanted to quickly solve the awkward situation in front of him. He did not consider Tang Bao's feelings. Instead, he felt that she was insensible. In Tang Bao's heart, she had never been sensible in her father's eyes. Is this how President Tang handles family affairs? In this stalemate, Di Haotian suddenly spoke. His deep voice cut through the air as if it was cutting open someone's heart. Under everyone's gaze, Di Haotian held Tang Bao's hand. That gesture made it seem like he was going to kiss Tang Bao's fingers. Tang Bao's face turned red. Chapter 21. Wasn't he afraid that others would find out? He had promised her that he would keep it a secret. Tang Bao glared at Di Haotian and secretly tried to pull her finger back, but it was in vain. She had seen Di Haotian's strength before. There were so many people watching. Could he not be like this? "Mrs. Tang, where did you buy this ring?" Di Haotian's voice was so cold that it was unfathomable. "It's just a random jewelry store." Zhou Xiangting smiled. She wanted to brush him off. Unfortunately, she was facing a strong opponent. Random? Di Haotian's expression was unfathomable and suddenly oppressive. "I also forgot which store it was. It was a while ago. In my opinion, this pink ring costs more than 100 million yuan. Can you afford it?" Di Haotian's fierce eyes suddenly shot toward Zhou Xiangting. Zhou Xiangting couldn't withstand the aura. She took a few steps back and was so scared that her face turned pale. Cold sweat broke out on her back. "What? More than 100 million yuan? It seems that Mrs. Tang still doesn't know the price. Or is Mrs. Tang doubting my judgment?" Of course not. Zhou Xiangting didn't look good, but she was more afraid of Di Haotian. The people around them were also very surprised. Who could afford a pink ring that cost more than 100 million yuan? But they also wondered why a small Tang Bao would have a pink ring that cost more than 100 million yuan. Seeing Di Haotian holding Tang Bao's hand, Tang Rui was jealous and immediately made things difficult for him. How could she have such an expensive ring? "I know she stole it." "Young master, you don't know, but Tang Bao likes Rui." Tang Qishan's voice was filled with displeasure. Tang Rui didn't dare to say anything, but she was very unconvinced and looked at Tang Bao resentfully. Tang Bao looked at Tang Qishan in surprise. This was the first time that Tang Rui had sided with her when she had a conflict with Tang Qishan. Why? He probably didn't want his daughter to embarrass him. No matter what, Tang Bao was in low spirits. Tang Rui's words were like thorns, while Tang Qishan's words were like knives that fell on her body. She forcefully pulled her hand back, turned around, and ran out. He ran out of the hotel and into the night. She didn't care about the so-called wedding anniversary anymore. What did it have to do with her? Who could care about her feelings? When her mother died, Tang Bao was already sensible. It was because she had such a deep family relationship that she couldn't bear to lose it. Especially when she was bullied, she would miss her family even more. Tang Bao walked along the street. She didn't take a bus or a taxi. She just walked aimlessly, tears streaming down her face. A black military luxury car stopped beside her. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment. Then, the car door opened and she saw the person sitting inside with two long legs. His tall figure stretched wantonly in the spacious car, exuding an authoritative and domineering aura. Tang Bao turned sideways and immediately wiped away the tears on her face. She heard Di Haotian order, "Get in the car." Tang Bao climbed in without hesitation. What strength did she have to resist Di Haotian? Even when she saw Di Haotian, her chest hurt. It had been like this for several days. What happened in the bar lounge was simply a terrifying memory that she couldn't erase. Chapter 22. Why are you running away? Di Haotian sat there with his legs crossed. He had the aura of an emperor as he asked in a strong and domineering manner. Tang Bao curled up like a little wife and said in a slightly low voice, "If I don't run away, you will let others know about our relationship." Di Haotian stared at her deeply with his dark eyes. "Other women can't wait to have an ambiguous relationship with me, but you can't wait to stay far away from me. Don't compare me with other women. I'm different from them." Tang Bao was unhappy. "So, I won't marry them. I'll marry you." Tang Bao was speechless. While Tang Bao was speechless, the figure opposite her swayed slightly and the air was aggressive. Then, Tang Bao's wrist tightened and she was in Di Haotian's arms. His strong chest made her brain go blank for a moment. Her chin was clamped by a rough and strong finger. She lifted it up and looked into his deep black eyes. "Is this how you want to solve it? Wear a Chong Sam to their wedding anniversary?" Tang Bao was stunned. She didn't say anything to Di Haotian. Why did he seem to be able to see through her? "What's the result? Isn't it your ring's fault?" Tang Bao was not convinced. "I want to take it off. I don't want to wear it. Have you forgotten what I said before? Or do you want me to say it again?" Di Haotian's eyes turned cold. Tang Bao gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. She didn't want to provoke Di Haotian over such things. She felt the pain in her chest again. "You're wearing a cheongsam because you want your father to think of your mother when he sees you and make him feel guilty. Let me ask you, has he noticed the clothes you're wearing since he came in?" The look in Tang Bao's eyes changed. Even his breathing changed. Under Di Haotian's sharp gaze, Tang Bao was embarrassed as if her clothes had been torn apart. She turned her gaze to the side, as if she could avoid Di Haotian's gaze. "Let me teach you a method." Di Haotian's voice was low and hoarse. Tang Bao's ears were a little sensitive, so he had to face Di Haotian again. He was even more curious about what methods he had. "Hang the woman's ex-husband's picture at the banquet. She needs to please your father. She will only panic if she embarrasses him. You have to take advantage of her weakness. Got it?" Tang Bao was stunned. Di Haotian was too scary. His method was indeed more useful than hers. Moreover, Zhou Xiangding wouldn't care if her father had her mother in his heart. She believed that she had the ability to subdue her father. Zhou Xiangding felt uncomfortable wearing her mother's clothes, but she would never show it. Tang Bao admitted that he was not as ruthless as Di Haotian. Well, Di Haotian's shrewdness and ruthlessness were not comparable to others. Otherwise, would he still be the king of D City? Although he admitted that Di Haotian's method hit the nail on the head, Tang Bao was not willing to accept his kindness and said, "You don't have to care about my business. Remember one thing." The hand on his chin was a little stronger, and Tang Bao had to look at the incisive domineering aura. "Obey your father at home, obey your husband when you're married." At night, in Tang Bao's room, in the cloakroom, she took off the Chong Sam she was wearing and hung it in the wardrobe. This was the only piece left. Everything else had been burned when his mother passed away. Chapter 23. When she was allowed to stay in this room by Di Haotian, these women's clothes came over. Previously, she could still tolerate it. Out of sight, out of mind. But now that her mother's clothes were also hanging here, she felt more or less uncomfortable. What was the meaning of moving clothes meant for other women to her room? If he was afraid of ruining them, he could give them to other women. Tang Bao walked out of the room and bumped into Zhongli. She said, "Give me the clothes in the cloakroom that Di Haotian asked to move in. Take them out. I don't want to wear them." "This. Young mistress, you should ask young Master D. If young Master D agrees, we can do that. Although he served Tang Bao everywhere, he would only listen to Di Haotian's orders at critical moment. Tang Bao had no choice but to look for Di Haotian. She knocked on the door, but there was no sound. Tang Bao pushed the door and went in. She didn't see anyone and was thinking about him. The bathroom door opened, and Di Haotian walked out with a towel wrapped around his waist. His strong and tall figure was sexy and wild. Wrapped in the heat wave after the shower, he swept over. Tang Bao's face heated up, and she immediately turned around. Di Haotian saw her interesting reaction, and his dark eyes darkened with a devilish luster. He walked towards Tang Bao and leaned close to her back. His voice was low and magnetic, and his breath was hot. "Don't you know that the most dangerous thing is to have your back facing me?" Tang Bao's neck went numb, and the numbness seemed to have drilled into her blood. She was so scared that she immediately stepped back and stood guard at a distance. "I'm looking for you for something." Tang Bao looked uncomfortable. Even though there was a distance between them, his strong and sexy body still swept over her with heat waves, causing her face to heat up. Even her breathing was unsteady. "Say it." Di Haotian's eyes flashed with a strange look. "Can you take away all the clothes in my cloakroom? I don't want to wear them." "No." Di Haotian turned around, and the strong lines of his waist were visible. She walked towards the cloakroom. Tang Bao panicked when he saw this. "Why not? Those clothes must be worn. Isn't this too much? I know you prepared those clothes for another woman, and it's a bit of a waste to throw them away. But why should I wear clothes that other people don't want? It's not like I don't have clothes to wear. Or you can give those clothes to other women." Tang Bao was talking enthusiastically. Di Haotian turned his face. It was only 2/3 of his side profile, but the sudden sharp aura still made Tang Bao, who was following behind him, pause in his steps. It was as if the previously hot air had suddenly cooled down. Tang Bao was a little nervous. Just when she thought that Di Haotian would completely release his dangerous aura, she saw him go to the cloakroom again. "Did you hear what I said? Those women..." Tang Bao tripped over himself and fell forward. He fell to the ground. Fortunately, there was a soft carpet on the floor, so his body didn't hurt too much. Tang Bao, who was about to get up, realized that one of his hands was holding a white bath towel. Why did this bath towel look so familiar? The air in the room became thick, and the rhythm of her heartbeat accelerated. Tang Bao slowly raised her head. Di Haotian had turned around at some point and was facing her. Tang Bao didn't know what Di Haotian's expression was, but when her gaze fell on the mermaid belt, "Ah!" Tang Bao yelled loudly with her hands covering her face, sobbing. Chapter 24. You want to see it so badly? Tang Bao couldn't stay any longer. She turned around and crawled out of the bedroom. She ran back to her room as if she was fleeing. Her face was flushed red. Tang Bao felt that she was so hot that she could boil eggs. Her heart was even more flustered. Why was she so unlucky? Why did the towel fall off? Also, what kind of hobbies did Di Haotian have? He didn't even wear underwear under the towel? Bang, bang, bang. There was a knock on the door. Tang Bao, who was in a daze, was shocked. "Who is it?" "It's me, Zhang Li." Tang Bao's tense nerves relaxed. She went forward to open the door. "What's the matter?" Zhang Li was standing respectfully outside. "Did the young master instruct you how to deal with those clothes?" Zhang Li asked. Speaking of this, Tang Bao felt uncomfortable. He said no. Does this domineering person have a bottom line? He still has to let me wear them. You don't like the style of those clothes? Zhang Li asked, not understanding. She thought that if she didn't like the style, she would tell the young master tomorrow. Was this a problem with the style of the clothes? Tang Bao thought for a moment and asked, "If your husband gave you the clothes that he prepared for his ex-girlfriend, would you be willing?" "I'm not married." "How old are you?" Tang Bao was stunned. 37. "Why aren't you married yet?" I was already married when I was 19. This world is too much. Zhang Li Tang Bao suddenly saw the most evil thing in the depths of human nature. For a girl who had just become an adult for less than a year, it was a little overwhelming. Of course, Tang Bao wasn't completely ignorant. After entering university, she had always lived in the dormitory. However, there were one or two restless people in the dormitory. She didn't know where they got the porn and secretly watched it in the dormitory. Tang Bao was so shocked that she glanced at it. She covered her face and saw it through the gaps between her fingers. First of all, it was on TV, so they didn't know each other and there was a screen between them. Second of all, she curiously watched it for a while before falling asleep. It was unlike what had happened tonight. They were so close to each other, and the other party was an acquaintance. It was too scary. The frightened Tang Bao had a terrible dream that night. She dreamed that she was lost in the mountains, surrounded by trees and fog. With every step he took, his calves sank into the thick grass. Just then, something seemed to wrap around her ankle. Tang Bao lowered his head to take a look. He was so scared that he did not dare to move. She saw a super-large python crawling up her ankle. It raised its head and spat out its scarlet tongue. It crawled up her knees, down her thighs, and then into her body. Ah, no, 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 no. Tang Bao woke up from his dream in shock. She hurriedly threw off the blanket to check her legs. Under the light, her white ankles were like jade, and her legs were slender and smooth. There was no python at all. So it was just a dream. Tang Bao's body collapsed backwards. His tender and delicate face was covered with fine beads of sweat, and he was panting heavily. After such a scare, she didn't feel sleepy anymore. Tang Bao had been afraid of snakes since she was young. That soft feeling made her tremble all over, and goosebumps immediately appeared on her skin. This must have been caused by Di Haotian last night. Tang Bao woke up weak in the morning. Chapter 25. When she walked into the dining room, she saw Di Haotian sitting at the dining table with his legs crossed. As soon as she saw him, Tang Bao thought of what happened last night. Her face heated up, but she tried hard to stay calm. She pretended that nothing had happened. After breakfast was served, the two of them ate in silence. "Didn't sleep well last night?" a deep voice asked her. The heat on Tang Bao's face, which had been suppressed with great difficulty, reappeared. Her beautiful brows furrowed, and her eyes sparkled like stars. She lowered her head and said, "No, I slept very well." Di Haotian glanced at her deeply, then looked away and continued eating. Tang Bao sighed in her heart. As soon as she stuffed the food into her mouth, she heard Di Haotian's evil voice. "If you can't wait for 3 months, you can cancel it." Tang Bao almost choked on the food in her mouth. Her whole face was not just hot, but hot. A pair of big watery eyes stared at Di Haotian, and she seemed to be panicking. "I can wait. 3 months means 3 months. Don't be afraid. Although you are still a child in my eyes, I will try my best to be gentle." Tang Bao's face was not only red and hot from embarrassment, but also panicked and nervous. "You can't go back on your words. I do mean what I say. Last night I also said that you must wear clothes. Did you wear them?" From tomorrow onwards, if you don't wear clothes, I will wear them for you personally." Tang Bao was horrified. This was absolutely impossible. At school, Tang Bao leaned against a big tree by the flower bed and sighed. She had died several times in the game on her phone. "What are you doing? I've been looking for you for a long time. Why are you sitting here?" Wan Milei sat next to her and asked. "Another round of death." Tang Bao put down her phone and looked at the blue sky helplessly. "I used to say that my father didn't care about me at all. I was wrong." "What's wrong? Did your father apologize to you?" "No." "Then what is it?" "Because in the end, I didn't find myself a husband when I got married, but a father." Tang Bao was extremely conflicted. "You mean, the young master?" Wan Milei's eyes immediately sparkled. "Who else could it be? You're meddling too much. Why would he care about you? Tell me about it. If I talk too much, I'll just cry. Let's not talk about it anymore. Tang Bao was at a loss, but he still managed to find a way out for himself in this hopeless situation. This makes me even more determined to get a divorce. Wan Malay laughed dryly. She was afraid that marrying Di Haotian would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Divorcing him would also be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. After class, Tang Bao walked to the school gate alone. She used to live in the same dormitory as Wan Malay. But now, she went back and forth alone every day. The castle was good, but it was not where she wanted to be. As soon as she walked out of the school gate, before she raised her head, she heard a leisurely voice. You're Tang Bao, right? Tang Bao turned her head and saw a girl about her age standing behind her. There was more than one person. There were several girls behind the girl. It seemed that they did not come with good intentions. I'm not. The girl in the lead was stunned. No? Isn't your name Tang Bao? I'm not. Do you think that I don't know who you are just because you don't admit it? We're not that easy to fool, the girl said with a fierce expression. I don't think I know you. What's the matter? Since they knew each other, she might as well ask clearly. Chapter 26. Where are you going? I'll tell you why we're looking for you. I'm not going. Tang Bao turned around and left. Did they think she was stupid? She knew they were not good people at first glance. Although she was not afraid of them, it was difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. She would be at a disadvantage. The girl directly grabbed Tang Bao's collar. The other girls also stepped forward to grab her, one on the left and one on the right. The luxurious military vehicle not far away was like a dormant beast waiting quietly, ready to erupt with ferocity and bloodthirst at any time. There were also a few bodyguards' cars behind it. It was a deterrent force that no one could get close to. Those who passed by had to take a detour. In the spacious car, Di Haotian was sitting inside, holding an expensive red wine in his hand. His gaze fell on the scene outside the car window at the school gate. He was calm and steady, sharp and obscure with a cold sneer. Young master, it seems like it's a fight between students, he Ju, who was sitting in the front seat, said. Tang Bao was dragged to the alley next to the school by these people. There was no one here, so it was convenient to attack? Tell me, what did I do to offend you? Tang Bao was sure that she did not know these people, but she did not want to be beaten up for no reason. What did you do to offend us? Did you remember after we beat you up? The girl said fiercely. Beat her up. Wait a minute. Beat her up later. Tang Bao immediately reached out to stop her. What else do you want to say? The girl was very impatient. It seemed that she would not be able to calm down if she did not beat Tang Bao up immediately. After the girl finished asking, before she could see what was going on, it was as if a brick had been thrown at her. But her reaction was too slow, and she knew it was too late. With a bang, the girl in front rolled her eyes and fell to the ground. Her forehead was still bleeding. When the other girls saw this, and Tang Bao was still holding a brick in her hand, they immediately rushed forward angrily. Tang Bao knew better than to fight when the odds were against her. She turned around and ran. However, just as she turned around and ran 2 steps, she bumped into a solid wall of flesh. Tang Bao felt that her whole head was going to faint. At that moment she thought, who exactly did she bump into? Why was his body so strong? He was even sent flying by the impact. In the next second, she felt something tighten around her waist, and she was pulled back. Tang Bao was once again stuck to the meat wall. Then, Di Haotian's uncanny and domineering face appeared in the depths of his eyes, and even the contours of his face became colder. When the other girls saw Di Haotian's ferocious and inhumane gaze, they were so scared that they stopped chasing after him. Tell me, what did she do? Di Haotian asked coldly and threateningly. One of the girls hesitated and said, she stole someone else's boyfriend. After saying that, she looked at the unconscious girl on the ground. She seemed to have stolen her boyfriend. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment. Then, she felt that the hot chest that was pressed against her body was about to cool down, causing her body to tremble involuntarily. This discomfort made her want to leave Di Haotian's grip, but the hand that was clasped around her waist did not relax at all. It was as firm as an iron chain. You don't listen to her nonsense. I didn't steal her boyfriend. I don't even know her, Tang Bao explained. She did not want to suffer in front of Di Haotian. This man was so scary that he was not human. You don't know Zhou Kai either? The girl asked again. Zhou Kai? Tang Bao was stunned. Why did this name sound so familiar? Chapter 27. Did she really cause trouble? Just as Tang Bao was in a daze, Di Haotian's deep voice sounded from above her head. Do you want to continue? Of course, the girls did not dare to continue and stood still. After getting into the car, Tang Bao raised her head and looked at the school gate outside the window. She did not understand why Di Haotian suddenly appeared in front of her school gate. After the car left, Tang Rui walked to the girls and looked at the girls who seemed to be waking up on the ground. She was so angry that she did not want to look at them a second time. What a bunch of trash! But what made her even angrier was why Tang Bao was so close to Di Haotian. This made Tang Rui's face filled with suspicion and resentment. The car drove steadily on the road. Tang Bao sat upright and endured the pressure in the car. It was like a gloomy net that covered her body and could not be torn open. Tang Bao sneaked a peek and met Di Haotian's cold and sharp black eyes. She was so scared that her heart skipped a beat and she immediately looked away. You have nothing to say? Di Haotian's tone was intimidating. He sat there lazily and exuded a strong and domineering aura. What do I have to say? Tang Bao muttered. Di Haotian did not show any anger. Instead, he sneered with a hint of danger. Are you feeling uncomfortable again? Do you want me to massage you? Tang Bao thought about what he meant and her face heated up. She crossed her arms in front of her chest and said anxiously, Don't mess around. I'll say it. You can't blame me. That boy wrote me a few love letters. He came to my school once, but I rejected him. Most importantly, I didn't even read the contents of the love letters. Why did you reject him? He's too ugly. Moreover, the person she liked at that time was Di Junbai. She could not accept anyone else, even if it was Di Haotian. Of course, she didn't dare to say that out loud. You'd better behave yourself. Otherwise, you won't be able to study anymore. I'll lock you up in the castle every day. Di Haotian narrowed his long and narrow eyes, sending out a dangerous signal. Tang Bao's heart trembled. She believed that Di Haotian was not joking. This man was ruthless and merciless. Any man would be afraid in front of him, let alone a girl. Tang Bao felt that Di Haotian was not the reincarnation of a demon, but the reincarnation of a demon king. The oppressive atmosphere in the carriage settled down for a while, but it didn't settle down. Tang Bao thought of something and asked, Why did you come to my school? Didn't you say that you wouldn't let anyone know about our marriage? I don't know what other people would think if they saw us being so close. Are you so afraid of others finding out? Di Haotian's dark eyes were filled with malice. That's not it. It's just that I'm still a student. There's no need to cause any other trouble. Di Haotian's identity was very sensitive. She didn't know what kind of topic he would bring to her. Tang Bao felt that it was most likely not good. Di Haotian didn't continue to pursue the matter. His thin lips parted slightly. Let's go eat. Tang Bao thought that they were going to a restaurant outside. She wondered why Di Haotian was in such a leisurely mood. However, when they arrived, they saw a luxurious villa and a glamorous scenery. It looked like a rich family, not a high-class clubhouse where people only ate. There were male and female servants waiting at the door. They were very respectful. Chapter 28. Tang Bao was wondering who these two people were. The middle-aged man stepped forward and said, Second uncle has been waiting for you for a long time. Why are you only here now? Tang Bao was a little surprised. Was this Di Haotian's second uncle? Di Haotian's status was really unapproachable. Even his elders had to come out to greet him. However, if this was second uncle's house, then was Di Junbai also at home? Tang Bao's little heart was beating unusually fast. She knew that her current status was sensitive, but how could she say that she didn't like the person she liked so quickly? Moreover, she and Di Haotian would not have a happy ending. In the end, when she became single again, could she still chase after Di Junbai? Thinking about this messy relationship, Tang Bao's mind was a little tangled. However, she did not see Di Junbai during the meal. Instead, she saw Lan Wanru sitting opposite her. Her temperament was quite similar to her aunt Li Yuhuai. However, her gaze was directed to the side from time to time. Tang Bao noticed it. It was so obvious. Only a blind person could not see it. She secretly glanced at Di Haotian next to her, as if he did not see it. Was this the case of the concubine having the lover but not the lover? Tang Bao felt that Di Haotian's taste was really unique. Lan Wanru's temperament was outstanding, gentle, and beautiful. Why didn't he like her? Why did he choose Tang Bao? Of course, Tang Bao was not belittling herself. She just felt that Lan Wanru was more suitable as a wife. Tang Bao was only 19 years old. What did she know about being a wife? She did not know anything. She was quite accurate with the brick. Tang Bao's mind was busier than her mouth as she ate. She thought about the clothes and bras in the cloakroom. Could it be that Di Haotian married her because he liked her size? Thinking of this, Tang Bao looked at Lan Wanru's chest. It was indeed much smaller. So, was this the reason why Di Haotian didn't like it? Lan Wanru frowned when he felt the abnormal gaze. Only then did Tang Bao retract her wretched gaze. At this moment, the bowl was filled with vegetables. It was Di Haotian. She was stunned for a moment before she lowered her head and ate in embarrassment. This behavior was definitely seen by others. There were also various expressions on everyone's faces. Second Uncle Di Lingyue's expression was unclear. Second Aunt Li Yuhuai's gentle smile. Lan Wanru's expression was downcast. Is it not to your liking? Li Yuhuai asked with a smile. Tang Bao froze for a moment before realizing that the question was directed at her. She hurriedly said, "No, it's very delicate and delicious. It was just like holding a banquet." After dinner, Di Haotian and Di Lingyue seemed to have something to talk about. Therefore, they went somewhere else. There were only 3 women in the hall. Tang Bao, Li Yuhuai, and Lan Wanru. Li Yuhuai was very polite. She took out all the delicious dishes and placed them in front of her. Although Tang Bao was delicious, she couldn't really pick it up and eat it. Previously, it was Tang Bao who stared at Lan Wanru's chest. This time, it was Lan Wanru who stared at her and sized her up. When he saw the clothes on Tang Bao's body, his eyes couldn't help but be filled with disdain. Tang Bao lowered her head and looked at herself. This was her old clothes. It was a simple t-shirt and slim-fit jeans, revealing her slender and fair ankles. On her feet were simple canvas shoes. She was completely dressed like a student. Tang Bao retracted her feet. If she had known earlier that she was going to eat here, she would have gone back and changed into beautiful clothes. Di Haotian was really too much. Why didn't he let her change her clothes before coming here? Chapter 29. After that, she ran to the bathroom. When she was washing her hands, the door opened. Tang Bao thought that someone was going to use the bathroom. When he turned around, he saw Lan Wanru coming in. If Lan Wanru came in to use the bathroom, it wouldn't be a big deal. The problem was that she had been staring at Tang Bao ever since she came in. Tang Bao looked at her face in the mirror. It was small and clean. There was nothing on it. You're married to Big Brother. Could it be that he can't even bear to buy you a set of clothes? Oh, I don't have any concept of clothes. It doesn't matter. But do you think you're worthy to stand next to him? Lan Wanru's eyes were cold and disdainful. Tang Bao thought, so this was the situation. Worried that she was not worthy to stand next to Di Haotian? She really liked Di Haotian. He even noticed such details. It should be worthy, right? Otherwise, Di Haotian wouldn't let me stand next to him, Tang Bao said innocently. She pretended that she didn't see Lan Wanru's trembling expression and changed the topic. You need to use the bathroom, right? I'm ready. You can use it. After saying that, Tang Bao went out. When they left, Di Lingyue's family sent them off at the door again. When they got into the car, they couldn't see the villa anymore. Tang Bao retracted his gaze from the window and glanced at Di Haotian, who was cold and strong even though he was sitting there silently. There was a faint sense of strength in him. His slender legs were wrapped under the well-ironed suit pants. They were straight and strong. His black suit had a deep coldness and an undeniable cost. The cufflinks of his shirt were made of black diamonds. They shone with a black light and reflected the supreme nobility. With Di Haotian's power and wealth, the value of what he was wearing would definitely make one speechless. Tang Bao, on the other hand, only had a few hundred yuan on him. The difference was huge. They were indeed not worthy. Why didn't you tell me in advance that we were going to eat here? That way I could have prepared, Tang Bao said. Di Haotian's eyes narrowed. He was deep and unruly. Prepare for what? Change your clothes. Aren't you afraid that I'll embarrass you? Tang Bao was curious. Logically speaking, a man of Di Haotian's status should be more particular about his appearance, let alone his wife, Tang Bao. Or was it because he didn't care? I have a lot of face. You can throw it away for the rest of your life, Di Haotian said nonchalantly. In the morning, while Tang Bao was washing up in the bathroom, he heard Zhang Li knocking on the door. He seemed to have come in, but he didn't know what he was doing. Usually, the Tang Bao would only clean the room when she was not around so as not to disturb her. When Tang Bao came out of the bathroom and found Zhang Li was fiddling with some clothes in the cloakroom. What do you think of wearing this today? Zhang Li picked out a matching two-piece casual dress and asked. She picked it out from the clothes Di Haotian gave her. Di Haotian's warning was still ringing in her ears. She didn't dare to not wear it. After Zhang Li picked out the clothes for her, she didn't say yes or no and just took it. She put it on after Zhang Li went out. She didn't know how Di Haotian wanted to torture her. Tang Bao suddenly had an idea. Could it be that there was a woman in these clothes? Was that why he made such a request? Was she a substitute? At school, while Tang Bao and Wan Milei were chatting happily, a handful of soil fell from the sky and landed on them. Chapter 30. Some of the sand went down her neck, and she could only shake her clothes to get rid of the sand. Tang Bao looked up to see who did it, and she saw Tang Rui on her campus. Tang Rui, are you crazy? Tang Bao was furious. I have something to talk to you about. Tang Rui did not feel sorry for her behavior, because she did it on purpose. Tang Rui looked down on Tang Bao's school, so Tang Bao was surprised that she would come here for something. How rare. I have something to say to her. Can you leave us alone? Tang Rui said to Wan Milei arrogantly. As Tang Bao's good friend, she naturally knew what kind of person the second daughter of the Tang family was. She immediately said, I'm happy to stand here. This is not your school. Why are you interfering? Tang Rui's expression immediately turned ugly. Just say what you have to say. I don't have time to waste with you, Tang Bao said impatiently. Okay then. Let me ask you. What's your relationship with Di Haotian? Tang Bao was stunned. What did she mean? Why did Tang Rui ask this? Could it be that she knew about her relationship with Di Haotian? That shouldn't be. She didn't say anything. Di Haotian promised not to say anything, so he wouldn't say anything. There's nothing to do with it? Tang Bao looked confused. If nothing, why would he go to our parents' wedding anniversary? If nothing, did you get into his car after class last night? Tang Rui glared at her angrily. How would I know he would go on our wedding anniversary? Wasn't it my dad who invited him? As for what car he got into last night, I don't even know. Malay, I think I left with you after class. Did you see us? Tang Bao elbowed Wan Malay. No, we left the school together. I went to buy food after you got into the car, and then went straight back to the dorm. Nothing happened. Tang Rui, did you see wrongly? Wan Malay said cooperatively. Do you think I'm blind? Even if Tang Bao turned into ashes, I would still recognize him. Tang Bao, tell me honestly, did you become Di Haotian's lover? I'm going back to tell my dad. Tang Bao lowered her head and scratched the bridge of her nose with her index finger. She didn't even want to be Di Haotian's wife, so why would she want to be his lover? Wan Malay, who was next to her. Tang Rui, I'm curious. Because Mom and Dad agreed to let me marry Di Haotian. Tang Rui was so proud that she almost had her nose in the air. Did Di Haotian agree? Tang Bao asked. And he showed up at my parents' wedding anniversary last time, which means he thinks highly of the Tang family. It won't be difficult to propose a marriage. Tang Rui was having a beautiful dream and said proudly. Didn't you just say that Di Haotian's attendance at the banquet had something to do with me? Tang Rui's face turned green. I'll marry Di Haotian, so stay away from him. If I see something I shouldn't see again, I won't forgive you. After saying that, he left with a warning. Tang Bao looked at the receding figure and was puzzled. Did I dig up Tang Rui's ancestral grave in my previous life? Why is it that everything she likes has something to do with me? But this time, it's the only time she did something that made me happy. You mean she wants to steal Di Haotian from you? Tang Bao nodded vigorously. Yes. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.